China, a pivotal place of human society and a key player in the history of the human race. Filled with some of the more fascinating places in the world, the countryside, the many landscapes of mountains, and the political and social center of Beijing. One of the biggest cities in the world, containing over 20 million people. This number gets increased by the many people who visit the city every year. In 2017, 9 students from Internationella Kunskapsgymnasiet in Lillehammer got to experience this enormous capital and take part in an international conference simulating the very organs of the United Nations. Many students from many parts of the world come together to meet in this conference, share experiences, and to work together to achieve common goals. However, since many of these students come from different cultures, they have very different ideas and experiences about education and how they achieve their own specific goals. 2 students, Jakob Lindman and Param Asic from Sweden, wanted to meet the students and ask them questions surrounding this concept. What is education? How do students from other parts of the world envision an ideal educational system? And based on this, what can we learn about how certain students are raised and taught to be extra hardworking and highly ambitious? In other words, what can we learn about the Tiger students? Then what is a Tiger student? To understand that word, we first need to look at the concept of Tiger parenting. This is essentially expecting one's children to achieve great results, in many cases within the academic world. This concept stems from the society of China, where many parents are highly authoritarian and controlling. This means that the child often is denied leisure activities such as friends and hobbies, and instead are expected to constantly be working and focusing on their school. In some cases, this can mean that the parents have a strong psychological control over their children. Following this trend of parenting, children would be highly affected. They would be individuals constantly working and focusing on their goals, for better and for worse. They would constantly be working to outperform themselves and reach their parents' high expectations. We wanted to learn how these young individuals feel about their lifestyle they have been brought up with, and how they have been affected by it. If it truly is a common thing about many students from all parts of the world to have a strong sense of ambition and focus on results that they have been raised by with the parents. While pressuring students into studies sure can be good to reach goals and expectations that society sets on them, it is important to examine if this can have negative consequences too. And what better place to do that than a Model United Nations conference, where we had a platform to interview particularly Asian students, but also American students, who have a bigger chance of being subjected to this parenting style, considering that they come from highly pressuring schools.
Firstly, what are the school systems you have experience with in your life?
I attended American public schools for the majority of my life, but then I moved to Korea International School 2 years ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay. How are the systems different in your opinion?
Well, the education system, I guess, back in America for the public schools, it's very much. I guess it's you don't have as much guidance. Yes, you're really on your own. Teachers back in public schools, for the most part, don't really go out of their way to help you as much as international schools teachers do. And I guess it's a lot less competitive in American public schools than it is in international schools.
For example, let's say, since we're attending the MUN, it is highly likely that most of the people currently present are very ambitious people generally. Do you think which school do you think did a better job to observe or grow your ambition, your inner desire to compete?
That would definitely have to be the international school,
Mhm.
because international schools you're surrounded by, for the most part, you're surrounded by ambitious people. Students who want to go to attend the best colleges, who want to
Yeah.
who aspire to become great figures, and so that really it provides a sense of competition that really can't be found in public schools back in America or really anywhere else, and so that definitely have to be the international schools.
So essentially the main difference is the people whom you're competing against. Is that what makes the systems differentiate, or so they're at their core the same thing, or are there any like details that
Well,
one does?
the curriculums is similar,
Mhm.
but we go a lot more in depth. I would have to say in terms of material,
Mhm.
and also the overall atmosphere of the school is vastly different. American public schools, in American public schools, you have your own little group,
Mhm.
and you just tend to stick with them throughout high school or middle school and beyond. But international schools, people are relatively nice for the most part, I find, and so it's easier to relate with people. But at the same time, they are a lot more competitive, so it kind of fuels your own ambition as well.
Does this competitiveness is it rooted at the culture's expectations of the student too? Do you feel like there were different expectations for you in the public school in the United States than there were in the one in the international school?
Yeah, definitely. I think expectations differ greatly because back in public schools, you have students from all ranges, right? So you have students who are at the top of their class, and you have students who essentially will drop out after 4 years, right? Or
Okay.
3 or 2 less.
Yeah.
And so the expectations are there are no expectations really in American public schools that I find, because there are so many members in each, I guess, division, because there are a lot of people who are at the top of their class,
Yeah.
a lot of people who are like just in the middle,
Yeah.
and a lot who drop out, who don't succeed.
Yeah.
But in the case for international schools, most of them are successful students.
Oh.
At least where I go.
Yes.
And so expectation is that like back in American public schools, if someone fails a subject or class,
Yes.
it's not surprising, really. But in international schools, if someone fails a subject or if someone gets even like a B, right?
Okay.
Anything less than an A, really. Everyone's like, that's impossible. That's like people start freaking out, and
Oh.
so it's definitely expectations are definitely higher in international schools.
More pushed by the culture itself, or like by the people? What is the source of all these expectations then?
I would say the culture, because the culture, at least because I'm international in Korea, and Korea is known for its pretty vigorous school education system, right? They
Yes.
have the highest suicide rates among students, and so I think kids are really pressured to do well by their parents and by essentially societal norms, and I think that's really the main instigator behind, it's the main cause behind all the ambition, all the competitiveness, and all the negative things as well as the positive things.
Yes. Which system do you think is the most functional, or is there an amalgamation of both that you would prefer?
Personally, for me, I would prefer to have both in conjunction, working together. I think the public school system in America is better at embracing all different kinds of people, while the system in international schools, it really helps push people to become the best that they really can be.
Oh.
And I think having a balance of both, being able to accept different people at different levels, and at the same time pushing them to be their best, I think is the important part.
Well, thank you very much for introduce yourself and name all the school systems you have been to in your life.
My name is Reese Chung, and I've only taken the IB system. More specifically, I'm still in MYP.
Oh, MIB. At what country?
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. Oh, great. What is it that you find makes your education system in Hong Kong different from what is experienced at the rest of the world?
Well, actually, location in Hong Kong doesn't really matter because my school still follows the international curriculum set by the global IB
Yes.
system. However, I would say the local education culture is different in Hong Kong, where we have a much more focus and we place much more emphasis on getting good academics,
Oh.
and then that kind of creates we kind of all influence each other because we know that we have to be the best of the best. So that's why we have to try really hard.
Is there a constant pressure to be the best in those schools from everybody? Do the teachers partake in pressuring of the students too?
Well, yeah, they don't directly pressure us, but they do give us a kind of indirect pressure. And I'm not sure if this is just unique to my school, but we do have some incentive for students to get really well. For example, if you want to run for a leadership position in our school, you need to have it. You have to be at least maybe top 20 or 30%
Oh.
of grades. Otherwise, they just won't let you apply at all. And then, as for this is not like IB stuff, but in Hong Kong itself, there's a huge business of tutoring centers.
Yes.
So what students usually do is that after school they go to a tutoring center to drill and cram knowledge into their brains to like study up and then prepare for exams, and that could go on to like 8 o'clock or like really late into the night.
Oh.
So there is a lot of constant pressure.
Oh. Given the fact that we are at the Model UN right now, and most of the individuals currently present here are very ambitious people, and stating that, what is the main source of your personal ambition? What makes you want to be the best? What makes you want to partake in an event such as this? Is it your family pushing you? Is it just the school, or is it just your self-will? Is it your culture? What is it?
There are a multitude of reasons. First of all, this is my second MUN conference.
Yes.
And then the last one I went to, I found it really fun. And then personally, I just wanted to come to just like meet some new people and then have a good experience again.
Yes.
And then there's also that element of having to push myself to speak out more, to train myself speaking in a formal manner and then following like international rules.
Yes.
And I can't deny that there's also this element of like my family wanting me to go because they believe that having an MUN trip on my transcript will look really good to universities.
Oh.
Because right now, where I'm from, learning is kind of a means to an end. So right now, learning, getting good academics, that's the means to an end for a better life. Because definitely people want to get good academics, get good into university, get a good job, and be happy. However, right now, they're not really seeing learning as kind of an experience. They're just seeing as, okay, if I just manage to get past this part and do well, then I can just forget all about it and then move on to the next stage.
Well, Parm, from all these interviews, what are your conclusions? Like, what do you think after hearing these interviews?
Dude, I just really don't know. Here's the thing. On one hand, I get the positive effects a stronger, like a more hardcore system is gonna have. You're gonna get better students, a more hardworking group of students. Everybody's just pushing themselves to the maximum. But then, there's all these negative effects that they brought up, like the suicide factor, like the fact that they spend most of their time just studying.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really am torn. I don't know which one's the right choice, really. It confuses the crap out of me.
Yeah. I think high expectations can really do different things to students. I think it can both make them be the best that they can, really, and really strive towards greatness, but also really fall to the bottom and realize, okay, I can't live up to these expectations. I don't have the academical talent that is required to do this, and I don't have any other way to achieve greatness, because that's the mindset that's forcing students. If you aren't good in school, then you're not going to achieve your dreams. Then you're not going to have a good future.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're constantly being pushed down, that's not really gonna help the cause, is it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like listening to the story about their cultures, like learning more about it, about their history, about what makes that specific culture special in their own way. It just really makes you think it's not really that surprising
Yeah.
that they expect so much from their youth, but it also makes you question, or like it made me at least question,
Yeah.
like what about us here in Sweden? Because like traditionally, Sweden has this obsession with being in the middle and being lagom, and now I'm like, I don't know whether to be thankful for that or blame it for not being pushed hard enough, and that we could have been at a much higher level if it was there, and it really is confusing. It makes you
Yeah.
question a lot of things, and it's just strange.
But I think all these interviews really showed examples of Tiger students. What we really came out to look for, like students who have been pressured by their parents and society and teachers to really focus and really be ambitious in school. And that just makes me wonder, like how does other Tiger students feel? Are there other Tiger students in their educational systems, and what are their accounts of their experiences?
Yeah, and exactly. Like, we had this whole point brought up about how they are not Tiger students if they're not doing well. They're basically social outcasts.
Yeah.
And that's just strange and sounds so bizarre to me. And I know that you were like really disturbed by it. That like
Definitely. It was definitely something that shocked me from these interviews, and something I did not expect, to be honest. To have this sort of mold that should supposed to be the perfect students. If you even get lower than an A on a course, I mean, the other students are gonna freak out. They're gonna think like, how am I gonna get back from this?
Yeah.
But I think a combined school system, which can invite all students of all backgrounds and all academical potentials and skills, but also having a school system which challenges the students and really makes them work and really pushes them into greatness. A combination of both those two could probably be the most beneficial for the students.
Here's the thing. On one hand, I agree with you. I think like to have a group that like brings everybody in while also pushing them hard sounds great. But to the cynical side of me, that sounds like a fairy tale. It sounds like too good to be true.
Maybe.
For me, it's like it's all about the student. If the student wants to get there, if the student is ambitious, then it's gonna work. You can push someone somewhere. It's gonna take you 2 days. If they want to go there themselves, it's gonna take like half an hour.
Yeah.
It's gonna be easier if the student wants to get there themselves.
So in the end, it really has to be dependent on how the students, or what the student wants,
Exactly.
and what they want to achieve, and what they want to do with their both their academic life and their life in general. What they want for the future, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So like the ideal system would be an individualized system, but we don't have a free budget for that, and that's like impossible to do, and so unconventional and inconvenient, and it really makes you like question what is the ideal school system at this point even.
And I think that's very individual. I think that's a question we all need to ask ourselves, and something we all need to reflect on to really see what the ideal school system can be in the future, and how the school systems should develop from this point on, really.
Exactly, because from here on out, it's only supposed to get better.
Definitely.
So this has been Pierre.
This has been Jake.